I will go into the details of the program in a second, but first, because we didn't have homework yesterday, I want to ask the group an intimate question. Not intimate in that way, but intimate, like deep question, okay? So because we didn't do homework yesterday, let's think about the whole, it's day 5, okay? It's Friday. Happy Friday, by the way. Yes, Friday. So in what ways, since the program started, have you asked for, committed to, or set an intention to have your needs met since we started this mini course on Monday? How have you shifted in your energy and asked to get your needs met from either yourself or someone outside of you? And how have you seen the shift show up in your life? I want to see some actual examples. For instance, on day 2, we talked about attachment patterns. It scared the crap out of me, but it made me look at the relationship with my dad. It had me look within, and then I was able to shift into something else, and then my dad called me. So show me like an example of what shifted, or it could be as small as I set an intention to start using my words more powerfully. So instead of saying I'm trying to, or I'm hoping this is going to happen, or I've never done this before and it never works, into better language. So what's one shift you've experienced since you started this program on Monday that is a solid example of how it showed up in your life, how the shift has showed up in your life and supported you, okay? So in what ways have you gotten your needs met since the program started? How has the shift you've been experiencing showing up in your life? Solid examples. Okay, we're talking about how showing up as the source for what you want in your life affects everyone around you, including yourself mostly. Okay, so this is gonna be about today too, because we're talking about what it really means to leave a legacy. The word legacy has always bothered me. I don't know if it's bothered you guys, but for me, when I hear the word legacy, I think of, oh, I have to go to school for this many years so that I can leave a legacy for my children. Legacy a lot of times means money. But what does success really mean to you? Okay, what does success really mean to you? Does success mean money? Does it mean having more time to do what you want with your family? Does it mean showing up in a way that's really powerful for yourself? Does it mean retiring early? Does success mean taking care of yourself, self-care? Does success mean taking care of your family? Does success mean being happy and joyful no matter how you show up? So success is all about what you make it, right? So a lot of times legacy is about how many children are you going to have so that the line continues, or how much money are you going to make so that you can leave a legacy for your children, which means like money. So I want to make sure that and you'll see in a minute when I talk about legacy, I'm talking about how you show up so that you're the source for what you want to bring into your life and pass on to your children or your aunts and uncles and nephews. It doesn't have to be your children. Just because you're blood related to someone doesn't mean that's a legacy. Whoever you are in your life with, if you have a soul family and you show up as source in a different way, it's going to affect all of them, which affects all human beings. We are all connected energetically. It doesn't have to be blood family. That means, our legacy gets felt or known or ripples down throughout other generations, okay? It's just showing up in the energy of our body, because really at the end of the day, we're all connected as one, okay? So we're talking about showing up as source for what we want in our lives and how that affects everyone around us, including our family and generations of human beings that will come after you. So when I say showing up as source, what I mean is showing up in your body how you want to feel every day. And when you do that, like we were talking about before, everyone else and everything else in your life will rise up to meet that, okay? Or you will show up as source, and all the stuff that's holding you back from being source will come up for you to look at. So it's going to be, this is where fear and resistance also comes in. You may feel fear and resistance come up and you'll be like, oh, God, this is that fear and resistance Erin was talking about. Do I breathe into it? Do I fight it? What do I do? Never fight it, by the way, but talk to it. Okay, everything, if you have a like brain fog about what we're learning in this course, or something comes up and you're like, I don't remember, she told me to do this thing, but I can't remember, and the videos aren't available anymore. How do I do this? Talk to whatever it is. That's going to be your key takeaway from this whole 5 days. If shame comes up, sit it down in a chair and talk to it. If guilt comes up, sit it down in a chair and talk to it. If jealousy comes up, sit it down in a chair and talk to it. If fear comes up, sit it down in a chair and talk to it, as you would a human being. Remember how we said on, I believe, day 3, how if your niece or mom or someone that you really love beyond words comes up to you crying, would you say, go away, I want you to go away, you're hurting my feelings or you're bothering me? No, you'd say, come close to me. Let me hold you. Let me love you. What do you need? I'll support you in any way I can. And basically what that looks like is I'll just sit with you in your shit. and say, I love you, and it doesn't matter how you're showing up right now. I will always love you and never judge you, and I'll always be here for you. That's one thing that's important for me, especially with children, that they know is I want you to show up however you want with me, and know that I will never judge you. Doesn't matter what you come to me with. I will never say, oh, you shouldn't have done that, or why'd you do that? I will say, I don't know your position, but I do know that I will be here for you no matter what, and I don't judge you. I love you. When people know they are protected and in a space of loving non-judgment, they will open up to you in ways you could never imagine, which will help you open yourself up to you, okay? So I'm just going to take a second to look through some of these beautiful comments that are strolling along. Yes, Ava says, I am showing up for myself. I come first in honoring my life and consciousness while still being compassionate with others. My choices are my choices 100%. Yes, girl. So many, Ashley says, so many synchronicities have occurred since starting this. Again, remember, synchronicities and things will show up when you really commit to something. So again, if we're talking about the 12-week program or whatever else, when you ask for signs or symbols or synchronicity to the next thing, say, should I continue with this? You will see signs and symbols, believe me. Okay. Let's see. Success for Marina is having balance between work and play and not to worry about finances. Patrina says, I booked a session with my coach, Mimi, who's in this chat and is going to be doing your astrology sessions with you guys. And I pulled out my old notes on self-care. That's amazing. Roxanne says, just because someone is falling into their old pattern operating in fear doesn't mean I have to. Wow, that's powerful. Debbie says, I have set and am achieving many intentions I have seen, and a colleague has observed how much lighter I am walking, how much more energy I have, and hearing from sources that I haven't heard in a few years. I've had some powerful conversations. Kyrie says, I'm doing way more self-care and slowing down, being productive in my coursework, again, for my new career, sleeping until I feel like I want to. I love that, and allowing myself to relax. Okay. Marina says, I was looking for a job for session. I got an offer for a job that fits my schedule. Yep. Because you guys are showing up for yourselves. That's why. Mimi says, connect with your intuition and work in alignment with the universe. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Today, day 5. We are talking about something very important, very close to my heart. Very, very close to my heart. Session 5, what it really means to leave a legacy. John, of course you came in at this time, John Buell, when we're talking about what it means to leave a legacy. Okay, so on day 5 of your program here, of your worksheet, you will see up here, ancestral and familial blank, okay? So I'm going to have us fill in the blanks here. Ancestral and familial trauma is inherited and will replay over and over again until it is healed. This is really important. Let's sit in this, acknowledge this for a second, because this is very deep and really, really profound. Ancestral and familial trauma, that's what goes in there, is inherited and will replay over and over again until it is healed. How heavy is that? Okay. Ancestral and familial trauma is inherited and will replay over and over again until it is healed. Know that when you are dealing with any kind of ancestral and familial trauma, the reason it keeps showing up with you is not because you're crazy or it came out of nowhere, or why is my mom and dad this way? Why are the people that raised me this way? And then it starts to slowly happen to you, and then it happens to your children. So we're passing it down generationally. It's not something to be shameful of. It's happening in order for us to wake up and look at it. Okay, so congratulations. If you're in this chat right now, reading this, listening to this, you're breaking through that trauma right now. You're brave and courageous enough to show up and say, I'm doing that work. Even if I show up in this chat or in this work and never do anything again, I am aware that I not only have my own trauma and stuff that's coming up, but my mom and dad had it. That's why I have it. Their mom and dad have it. It goes back to the Depression days. Then it goes back farther behind that. Then it goes to Roman days. Then it goes back to pre-civilization days, caveman days, all of it. Okay? We are all human beings. It becomes inherited, and it's okay. So really what I want everyone to know is that we have the power to release this trauma in our lifetimes. Okay? So ancestral and familial trauma is inherited and will replay over and over again until it is healed. The next part of the workbook here, right here. You have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime. You, yes, little old you have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime for good. Now I'm going to read a list. This is just a short list of what this includes. And a lot of you are going to be, or people that, some of you that have already been doing this work will be like, yes, yes, yes. Some of you who have not done any of this work will be like, that's impossible. It's not. Okay? So you have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime. And this includes negative and limiting beliefs. So not only will you end your own negative and limiting beliefs, when you end your own negative and limiting beliefs, know that you will have broken the cycle from the negative and limiting beliefs that have been inherited to you from your parents, from their parents' parents, from their parents' parents. And this is cultural too. So if you guys are in a different culture or came from a different country, or parents came from a different country, I mean, we all came from different countries. We're all immigrants here, but it's important to notice that we carry generational trauma, cultural trauma, societal trauma, and family trauma. So, yes, that's heavy, but also know that you have the power to release that and to end it in this lifetime. And it's not going to take what it feels like. It feels like really heavy and like it's a lot of stuff. Yes, it's heavy, but it's really something that if you commit to it, that you'll be able to release, okay? So this includes negative and limiting beliefs. This includes depression and other mental health issues. So know that if you're dealing with depression or mental health issues, that you have the power to end this not only in your own lifetime, but as you support yourself in ending this in your lifetime, you will also support others in your life and people that come after you. Again, this doesn't have to be your children. It can be everyone in your soul family that shows up for you. It doesn't have to be people in your bloodline, okay? Let's see. Wow, April just said, I had an aha moment on the phone with my dad today about a generational issue I am experiencing now. So when you guys have these aha moments or whatever, I want you to be posting them in the chat like April just did. Thank you, April. I acknowledge you for that. Post them in the chat, even if it's a small shift, whatever shift it is, or just in the news feed. So if we're not live like we are right now, if you just post it in the news feed and say, hey, I showed up on Monday like a ball of nerves, and now I'm still a ball of nerves, but I have done this, or I've committed to this, or it has shown up in my life in this way, or I did something I never would have done, or usually I'm frozen in fear by this or that, and even though I was still frozen in fear when I experienced it again, I thought of a tip or trick that Erin gave me in the training, and I stepped out of it and I did it. Okay, so I want to hear these aha moments, these celebrations. Put them in the chat, put them in the group, share, share, share. We're here to share, okay? So you have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime. This includes negative and limiting beliefs, depression and other mental health issues, alcoholism and addictive compulsive behaviors. This one hits home for me very, very closely, okay? I have many alcoholics and co-addicts in my family. Not only in my mom and dad, but my grandparents, my great-grandparents, their brothers and sisters. My dad's dad came over on the boat from Ireland. They're all alcoholics. Who knew? Irish people, alcoholics? Yes. So part of what keeps me going in my life to do these trainings, to show up in my own life for myself in many, many ways, is knowing that not only am I supporting myself in breaking through my own trauma, I am breaking decades and decades and decades of generational Irish trauma, of alcoholism, of mental health and depression issues, and addiction and compulsion. It still shows up a lot in my life, but when it shows up, I'm able to soothe it and to love it and ask it what it needs, give it what it needs, or soothe it and let it know you don't need that anymore. It served me when I was little. It does not serve me anymore. You can go, I love you, okay? So addiction shows up a lot in our lives, and that really is, we're in so much pain and we're so sensitive, we cover it up by numbing it. When we allow ourselves to let go of the numbing agent and we feel our lives and we feel into everything that's going on in our lives and we breathe through it and we look at it and we become friends with it and we acknowledge it, it's able to release out of not only our systems, but out of our family line forever. So I know, and what keeps me showing up in my life is that it ends here. It ends now. Family trauma is not going to hold me back any farther, any longer, period. Okay, there's a bonus video that I put in the unit for this course. So if you go to units on the group, so you're on the group, you click on units, you will see the Repair Your Relationship with Money mini course, which we're doing right now, and there'll be like 20 posts in there. At the very bottom, there is a bonus video about financial avoidance. Within that financial avoidance video, I talk about generational trauma and how we have the power to end it. And I get into this big, not really rant, but it's like source moving through me. And I'm talking about generational trauma and how it's time to step back. Thank our parents for giving it to us, because now it gives us the opportunity to get rid of it and to soothe it and to love it into nothingness, okay? So that it doesn't hold us back any longer as a family, as a culture, as a generation, as a people, okay? Period. It's done. It's over. We get to end it, all right? Very important. So you have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime. This includes negative and limiting beliefs, depression and other mental health issues, alcoholism and addictive/compulsive behaviors, physical conditions and diseases, autoimmune disorders, and even cancer. Okay, we have the power to end physical dis-ease, which is really just energetic blocks and dis-ease in our family, in our lives. Emotionally, we get all this calcification that builds up and it becomes disease, it becomes depression, it becomes whatever else, okay? And it gets worse and worse, right? If we don't look at it, if we don't address it, if we don't help ourselves navigate through it in order to cut it off and make it go away, right? Not make it go away in a way that says, please, please, please leave me alone, but in a way that says, okay, I'm gonna take a second to look at you. It's gonna hurt, but I know I'm working through you in order to dissolve your power over me. Remember, we've talked about forgiveness and how to forgive someone is a long, long process. You can't just say, oh, I did some work and it's forgiveness and you're forgiven. But remember that when you forgive someone, you release the power that they have over you. You did not tell them, I absolve you of any wrongdoing and everything you did is fine and I forgive you. No. It says, you still did what you did. It hurt me. And I am forgiving you because I don't want you to have power over my life anymore. That's the same thing as if you were talking to fear, talking to limiting beliefs around money, talking to cancer, physical conditions, depression, anything. When you sit down and talk to it and say, what are you here for? What are you here to teach me? What are you here to show me? And how can we work together to love the parts of you that you're attacking and to heal through this together and support one another on this journey? Because any dis-ease, depression, alcoholism, negative or limiting belief that's there is there to A, teach you something, make you have an aha moment, and then have you work toward your highest and greatest good by dissolving that and supporting yourself in getting rid of that, right? And when I say getting rid of that, I don't mean like I was saying earlier about how if someone comes to you crying, you say, go away. I mean, get rid of it, meaning come closer to me. I'm here with you in non-judgment. I'm here to hear you, see you, feel you, support you in letting go. Now that we can let go together, I allow you to be released. Now we talked about, giving permission to money. I'm hereby making a pact with money by giving it permission to support me and giving myself permission to receive it. It's the same thing with any kind of dis-ease, alcoholism, depression. You want to give a pact to your depression by giving it permission to either support you or to release, right? You want to give permission to whatever is there because it's there for a reason to release. So when you say, I give you permission to release from my system, then you are giving it permission to not have to be there, right? So when it's there, the first thing you want to do is look at it, talk to it, acknowledge it, and then find ways to dissolve that fear or dissolve whatever is keeping it there, okay? So yes, you have the power to end family trauma in your lifetime, okay? So that's what we've gone over right here. Now we're going to go into this part right here, all right? Mimi says, I love the word dissolve. So do I. Isn't it nice? Because it really feels like we're working together to dissolve the pain, dissolve the thing that's holding on to us. It's not about like, go away, get away. Okay? It's about saying, you have no power over my life anymore. Or you served me while you served me in order for me to see things about my life. And then now that I've seen those things, thank you for bringing them to my attention. Now I can deal with them on my own and you don't need to be here to show them to me. But thank you for how you've shown up in my life before. I appreciate what you've brought to me. I acknowledge you for all the stuff and all of the love and support and limiting beliefs that you brought to me so that I can look at them and dissolve them away. Okay. So we're going to move on to the next section of this day. Patrina is putting a YouTube link. What's the YouTube link for? Yes, Mimi says it's gentle. The word dissolving is gentle. Because again, we don't want to tell our pain or our dis-ease or anything, our limiting beliefs to just go away. We want to look at it, right, in a gentle way and say, we are willing to let you be resolved or dissolved. Yes, so Janet brings up the nightshade allergy that runs through my family from my dad's side. Yes, it can be anything from an allergy. For me, my biggest things are allergy, alcoholism, and Alzheimer's. I am working, I would say working very hard, but I'm not. Because I don't want to make it seem like I have to work so hard to do this. No, I'm doing it in a gentle way, okay? I am gently and lovingly working at dissolving the attachment to alcoholism in my family, to low-level depression or sinking depression, which is connected to the alcoholism, and Alzheimer's. So I am releasing that from my bloodline forever, period. Like, it gets to go. That's it. It's not serving us anymore, and it just gets inherited. Again, ancestral and familial trauma is inherited, and it will replay over and over again until it is healed. So if you don't heal it, the next person, if not in this lifetime, then the next, right? It's going to keep repeating until we heal it. So if you're ready to take that up, then do it. If you're not ready right now, then at least you're aware of it, okay? Next thing, limiting beliefs about money stay in your DNA until you release the pattern and put it to an end forever. So we're right here. Limiting beliefs about money, that goes there, money. Limiting beliefs about money stay in your DNA until you release the pattern and put it to an end forever. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Oh, yay, Mimi says Patrina's video is the song, I've got the power, boom, boom, tick it down, boom, boom. I think that's the right one. I think there's another video that probably uses that in it. I don't know if that's the right song. Yes, limiting beliefs about money stay in your DNA until you release the pattern and put it to an end forever. So just like family and all this stuff that shows up, limiting beliefs, disease, depression, alcoholism, anything in our lives, allergies, ankle problems, whatever it is, it's the same thing with money, okay? Limiting beliefs around money will stay in your DNA, they'll stay in your body until you release the pattern and put it into an end forever. So not only that's what we're doing in this small program, that's what we're doing in the master program. We're going to continue releasing those patterns because it helps to do a program like this where you're just looking at it, but this is just discovery. And if you want to take the next step to not only discovering it, but actually taking steps to remove it and release it, then you'll want to continue on the 12-week program to actually remove it and release it, okay? So limiting beliefs about money stay in your DNA until you release the pattern and put it into an end forever, okay? The next thing on here is a pro tip. Pro tip, okay? Take a second. This is really important, you guys. So important right here. I would say write this shit down, but it's already right there. Okay. Take a second to look at the amazing things you have created in your life because of these patterns. Whoa. What did Erin just say? We just got done talking all about alcoholism and disease and depression. And I was thinking, oh my God, I hate this shit in my life. It's so hard. It's so bad. Like my dad suffers the most chronic alcohol. My dad has 6 DUIs. My father has 6 DUIs. He has dementia so badly that caring for him is like caring for a 6-year-old autistic child. I can't think of any other words to say about how it shows up in our lives. It's hard. So I want to make sure when we're talking about the stuff that I'm just saying, oh, we have the power to release this, boom, 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 like it's easy. No, it's in our lives. It's in our face. It's hard, okay? It hurts. And I'll give you one hard example for me when I show up with my dad. My dad cannot get over the fact that we don't have a boy child in our family. He's upset. He wishes we were boys. He wishes we had boys. Even when we talk on the phone, I love him so much. He's like my heart and soul. But when I'm on the phone and I go to hang up with him, he screams. I say, I love you, Dad, and I'm so glad I got to talk to you today. He says, nah. And then he goes to hang up and he screams, have a boy. And then he hangs up. Okay, so this shit is real. It hurts and it sucks. So I want to make sure that we are addressing that pain, and that I'm not making it seem like, oh, cancer, we can just make it go away. No, okay. It is hard, it is heavy, and it's stuff that has been in our family and in our bodies and in our culture and in our personhood for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Okay, it's hard, and we have to look it in the face all the time. I know how hard it can be. Okay, I get it. But I want you guys to know that there are reasons for this stuff being in your life so that you can not only look at it and forgive yourself and the others that make you feel like shit sometimes, but also what amazing things you have created in your life because of that. Okay, so for instance, I took an NLP class once that I used to blame everything on my dad. Okay, I would say my dad, and I've said this in earlier videos, my dad was a piece of shit. All he did was make me feel like crap. And I want to say as a disclaimer before I say all of this, my dad is a lovely, amazing man. I love him. Right now, he's a shell of who he is. He's not the real him. And I love him. And he is like just a soulmate for me. He is me, and I see myself in him. So I love him and I honor him and I value him. But I went to an NLP class once, and my whole life was, he's a piece of shit. He's ruined my life. He's an alcoholic. He made me into an alcoholic, and now my life is ruined, and all I can do is I'm victimized by his shit, and all I have to do is listen to his crap all the time. And I went on and on and on about what a little victim I was, blah, blah, blah. And the woman that I was talking to stopped me straight in my tracks, and she said, Erin, I want you to make a list of everything you would not have in your life had he not been like that. So I want you to say out loud, if my dad had not been an alcoholic, blank. And I want you to put in the blank all of the millions of good things that you created in your life. So at first I was like, F that. My dad's an asshole. I don't care what you say. You can say everything you want about because what the woman was saying was the same thing happened to me. My dad's a terrible alcoholic, but I don't let it rule me like that. And I was like, in my head, I'm like, this girl has no clue. My dad's the worst alcoholic than anyone. Her dad is probably 1/10 of my dad. So I don't care what she has to say. I don't care what she thinks she knows. And so I got in my car on the way home, and I was in resistance at first. I'm like, F that woman. Like, she doesn't know me. She doesn't understand. Trying to compare her life to mine. She has no clue. Like, my dad's the worst. Okay. And then as I was driving, I said, fine, I'll just do this freaking stupid exercise. Just whatever. Like, I'm just going to do it. Fine. And I said, if my dad had not been an alcoholic, and then I was like, okay, if my dad, and then I really thought about it. If my dad had not been an alcoholic, I wouldn't have been born, first of all, because he wouldn't have met my mom at a keg party in New Hampshire. If my dad had not been an alcoholic, I wouldn't have moved away from my hometown. Like, I moved away from my hometown to get away from my dad, and I changed my life in Boston. So if my dad had not been an alcoholic, I might not have moved out of my hometown. I might still be working at Burger King. I might be a manager at Burger King. I'm not saying that being a manager at Burger King is bad. But if my dad had not been an alcoholic, I can promise you today I would not be sitting in this chair. I would not be speaking to you right now. I would not have done this whole course. I would not have done any of the work that I came here to do. I would not be a tarot card reader. I would not be a limiting belief breakthrougher. I would not be a maniac on a mission. I would not be who I am today. Okay, so take a second to look at the amazing things that you have created in your life because of these patterns. So if someone in your life had cancer, if you had cancer, I know it's hard to think this, but what about that coming into your life made you look at your life in a different way? How did it open you up or close you off or change your life or make you look at different things that you would not have looked at if that had not happened to you? Okay, take a second to look at the amazing things you have created in your life because of these patterns. They happened for a reason. Embrace gratitude and then let that shit go. Okay? Take a second to look at the amazing things you've created in your life because of these patterns. They happen for a reason. Embrace gratitude and then let that shit go. Because it's not serving you. It's not serving your family. It's not going to serve the millions of people that come after you. It's not serving your soul family. It's not serving yourself. It's just not serving anyone. And when you can take a look at the amazing things it created in your life and how it made you who you are today, then you can truly burst through your fear and your resistance and truly step into who you are. Okay, let that shit go. It's time to move forward. It's time to create change. It's time to break through the fear and resistance. It's time to show up big for yourself and what you are here to create. because again, you're here to shine and you matter. So it's really important. And remember, right here, and remember, you have the power to end unhealthy patterns around money for your children and your children's children. So if during this process, during days 1, 2, 3, and 4, you have seen all the ways in which your parents have showed up that have made you look at money in a way that makes you feel poverty stricken, that makes you feel like you can't ever make money, that makes you feel like you can't ever have what you want, that makes you feel like you have to work every single day like a crazy maniac because if you don't, you will die because you don't have money. Okay, so all of these unhealthy patterns around money that you have discovered in these past 4 or 5 days, yes, there are unhealthy patterns that have come from your parents, but you do not want to be that person for your children, okay? So let's end it now so that we don't create that for our children, okay? Or our friends and family or anyone else let's break those patterns, right? It's so important for the future of our world. If we think it's bad now, think about what it would be like if none of us changed any of these patterns and we just kept going over and over again, years and years, and let it continue or get worse. If we think it's bad now, instead of sitting around and complaining about how bad it is or how bad you feel, do something about it. Let it go, okay? Or at least look at how you might be able to at some point let it go, okay? You don't have to do it all now. And repeat after me, the most important takeaway of this entire 5 days is it ends here. The trauma ends here. The limiting thinking beliefs here. Ends here. The trauma ends here. The holding myself back ends here. The thinking I'm no good ends here. The not valuing myself ends here. The fear ends here. The resistance ends here. Anything that holds me back from joy and success ends here. Dis-ease, depression, it ends here. When you say and you stand in your power and you declare it ends here, even if you feel in your body like, I don't know how this is going to happen, it doesn't matter. When you declare it, everything in your life will reach up to meet you and will help you let that shit go, okay? The only way to let it go is to ask for help. Ask for support. And the only way to ask for support is to break through and say, I'm ready. Fall down on the freaking ground, cry, do whatever you, beat on your chest and say, I am ready. That's what happened to me when I was in my car yelling at my dad. You guys, literally after I had just yelled at that woman, you don't know my life, fuck you, blah, 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 that. I got in my car, I listed all the things that I have created in my life because of my dad's alcoholism, and I started bawling. And I started screaming at the top of my lungs while I was driving, it's not him, it's me. I was screaming, it's not him, it's me, and I was crying. I was almost home as I was driving, tears pouring down my face, saying, it's not him, it's me, oh my God. I had a huge breakthrough because I decided to realize what amazing things in my life I had because of him. And I did a U-turn in the street because all of a sudden I thought, I want fruit. I know you're going to laugh, but that's what my body wanted. That was the very first time I have ever consciously connected to my body. For 17 years before that, I was a drug and alcohol addict, and I never connected to my body. I heard my body say, I want fruit, and I listened. And I did a U-turn in the street, which I probably could have got pulled over, but whatever. And I turned left at the light. I can still see where I was on the street. This was in Los Angeles. Turned left, went to the Ralph's on the corner, and I went inside and I was like, I want strawberries, I want blueberries, I want cherries, I want watermelon, I just wanted fruit. I wanted life in my body. I wanted to feel life. I wanted to feel juiciness. I wanted to feel sweet again. I wanted to feel all of the things that I had detached from and numbed myself from feeling and hearing and tasting and loving, okay? And I went to the store and I pulled into the parking lot and I looked directly in front of me and there was a car with a license plate that said Hopeful. It said HOPFLL. And I took a picture of it. I don't know if I still have the picture to this day, but that day changed my life forever. And it's because I had decided, I had seen the pattern, and I noticed all of the amazing things I created in my life because of those patterns, and I decided to let that shit go. Okay? It ends here.